Welcome to 3 Season of Pod, episode 23. 23, right?
23, baby.
That's my number, and it's not because of Jordan or LeBron. It's not. I won't reveal it for government reasons. I don't need people stealing my identity, but you guys know what I mean.
Yep.
So
Makes sense now, actually.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, yo, game six was some shit.
That was very stressful.
It was very fucking stressful. All right, I will say this, right? To start the game, the transition back to the double big, beautiful. Chef's kiss to Joe, right? That first 5 minutes of the game was probably the most satisfying basketball we've played all year.
Saying, bro,
because the Sixers could not score. They literally could not score, and we were we were getting great looks, and they weren't scoring. That was just beautiful. That was Mozart in action, baby. So
that was my shit, man. I was so happy. This is everything that I've been wanting.
Yo,
just those first 5 minutes, but overall, it was everything that I wanted. But that 5 minutes, I was like, bro, that is why we fucking reached the finals last year. That was just different, and I mean, they all love double bigs too, or they all love having Rob in there.
I think Al especially loved having Rob back.
I'm sure, especially not having to do all of the defensive, paint defense. But yeah, it was great. I loved it. Yeah. And then obviously Marcus Smart, JB were also saying they made minor comments about the double bigs and Joe and stuff, which was I don't know if that's kind of funny or kind of sad, but I don't.
I think it's hilarious because because you can look at it in two ways, but I look at it in the way where it's they just have that relationship with Joe.
That's what I'm saying. I'm hoping it's because of that relationship. I'm like, yo, they low key be just taking shots, and it's kind of funny. But like I said, I'm hoping it's just because they have that relationship with Joe.
It's definitely they have the relationship because I fully stand by this, dude. Joe is just a weird fucking dude.
No, he is. He is. And he's young as fuck. So I mean, it's not they look at him as a older
bro.
head.
Joe is dead as your weird friend. I honestly believe that, but no, I think switching back to the double big, it is annoying that it took till game 6 to try it out, but like Mark Jones said, not always there when you need him, but it's always on time, and it showed up, and we have game 7 tomorrow. But no, those first 5 minutes, we can nitpick stuff like Joe taking out Rob and Marcus, after we just decimated them for 5 minutes, but
yep.
But yeah, that game super stressful. JT 1 for 10 to start off the game. I think he scored.
Bro, he was 1 for 15.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the first half. I don't think he hit a field goal till 30 seconds left in the first half.
Something like that. Yeah.
But I think I mentioned that mainly because when we hang our hat on our defense, that shit don't matter, bro. We were still up by 7 at the half, but the defense was elite. Marcus was making action on Embiid the minute they threw it to him in the post. Rob was rotating after Al kind of forced him onto the inside. They just looked frustrated with the way our defense was playing. And I think also a credit to this and the way that the defense ended up, or the flow of the game ended up playing out. I'm glad the refs didn't really go for a lot of the flops that we typically see. I think a lot of those plays,
especially towards the end.
Yeah, especially towards the end. A lot of those plays down low, Embiid was getting those calls all series, and he didn't really get them. And I think that's a good thing because a lot of times they aren't fouls, or they're really attack, but no, I think it's a combination of both, and I loved what I saw.
No, I agree. Nate, there you go.
I mean, that first half, bro, the first 5 minutes was great. I loved it. That shit was fucking beautiful to watch, bro. I think we just kind of held it down the fort for the first half. Kept going up. I think we were up 16 at one point. We just kept I didn't like the sub either for Rob and Marcus. I think Malcolm and D White did a good job coming in, hitting shots and kind of just not freaking game 5 where we were just putting up bricks. We were getting good looks and they were knocking them down, kind of putting more pressure on Philly. And then just overall, bro, we were making Philly uncomfortable. They went on little runs here and there the first half, but it was just, for the most part, we're throwing defense at them where they were uncomfortable and had to force themselves to like do something that they're not kind of like accustomed to. Like for example, like that play where Embiid had like a mismatch down low, and tried to throw it to him, and that we doubled him real quick, and he tried to tip it out of bounds. And yeah, like I think we just did a good job. We kind of knew sticking our rotation to 7 players. I think we just knew like we had to come out and we had to set the tone for ourselves. And I think Marcus, he's a big catalyst of that, bro. Like the end of the half, man. He got that loose ball where Embiid easily could have got it. He beat him to it, got a layup.
That play all year was an offensive rebound for the other team.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like, that was easy. And then I'm just like, it kind of showed like Marcus even said it after Game 5. The energy wasn't there. Like, no, but it's just everything went wrong. But I feel like right out the gate in this game, he came out ready, set the tone. And I think I just got to give him his flowers for that, bro.
No, for sure. I think Marcus Smart was definitely the MVP of the game. He did a lot, and I think that was probably one of his best games overall. Probably not like statistical best game or whatever, but he just did a really good job like controlling the game as the point guard. And then I feel like he also just had very timely stuff like shots or steals or loose balls that he came up with or something like that. That kind of just shifted momentum or like stopped the momentum that Philly was potentially going on. Especially with JT having such a struggle of a offensive output. Marcus Smart definitely I feel like he just had a really like a lot of good threes or like random like floaters or like post up plays and shit like that. So I was like, that was super dope. It was kind of crazy that obviously we were relying on Marcus Smart to carry us on the way. Like I said, Brown, or like I was saying in the group chat too, Brown and Brogdon did a really good job, at least in like the scoring department. Especially like that initial rotation change where like Rob was out. That was my like my one complaint really was that they kind of like killed momentum, but at the end of the day they also were scoring in the place where like Tatum wasn't able to score. So I could nitpick all those like small things that they might have done or like rotations and stuff like that, but they did what they needed to do essentially for this game. And like obviously we pulled out of it. And then same thing with that defense. Honestly, like the reason why like we've always had offensive struggles with this whole like our two wings being our best players. There's always going to be like ups and downs with the offense, but I think what was making me more worried this year was because we haven't been locked in like that defensively, and that's truly what like carried us to the finals, because even though the offense was so up and down, the defense always remained the same. So to see the defense not stay locked in for up until literally this last game, that's why I wasn't too like I couldn't say like this was the same team, even though it's basically the same personnel, but honestly like with an addition of Malcolm Brogdon. So to see that from them was nice. It's still like fucking scary because obviously it took them on the brink of going home to like really lock in and do it. But now that they have done it, I'm sure they feel like they can continue that as well. And then obviously the double big lineups, I'm assuming Joe's gonna stick with that iteration of the lineup for now. And then hey, we can only hope he continues with these adjustments, man. Like you said, it took 6 games to figure something out, but at least he did it.
And I'll add to the Marcus Smart love fest really quick. That was like literally, honestly, I think I said this in the group chat. That was probably the best game he's ever played in the Celtic uniform, like in my opinion. Just because like he's controlling the offense, where he's making the right plays, running it as a point guard. He's making the correct decision to score when he needs to score. And the defense is just kind of self-explanatory for him. And speaking of love fest, we gotta talk about JT. JT saved his legacy in 3 minutes.
He did.
45
he really
seconds.
did.
Like that was. I think somebody
still
said
got my eyes on him though.
Somebody said this on Twitter. They were like, we witnessed a man save his legacy in 3 minutes, like in real time. Like, and we really 100%. Did. Because if we lose that game, if JT doesn't go on that little 3-point barrage, I don't know, man. I might have uninstalled Twitter. I would have
the conversation would have been extremely different, man.
It would have been super different. I mean,
props to him for showing up when it mattered.
He did.
Like, damn, man. I just hope that this it's so mental, man. Like he's one of the only like players, and then obviously this goes into top 10 conversations, blah blah blah. Where I'm like, yo, that still needs to be a conversation at this point, but that's a whole nother discussion. Yeah. But he's one of the only like superstars in my opinion that like when they are not in a flow, he just looks extremely like dejected, bro, and like. He just looks like ass.
I think the annoying part is like he looks like ass offensively, but like he does everything else. Like
no, I know, but like at that point, we're talking about a top 10 player. Like, I can't keep giving him the excuse of he looks great everywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like how many times does that need to happen for him to like just get it? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm giving him leeway because obviously he like literally came up big in the biggest game that he needed to be. But the fact that he routinely does this so far, at least in the playoffs, and obviously to end the season and stuff, it is still like worrying to me. And I'm hoping that like, because literally it is, in my opinion, all mental. We've seen it since the NBA Finals against the Warriors and shit, and now carrying on into these like playoffs and stuff. It all seems super mental. And dude, as soon as he hit 1-3, this man chucks like 6 more shots, and he went like 5 for 6 regardless. Yeah, but he was extremely confident after that. Yeah, I'm like, dude, and the thing, like, I think you can't have that.
I think the most frustrating part about JT is when he's struggling, he tries to shoot his way out of it. When he's fucking damn near unstoppable going to the rim, and
but even when he goes to the rim, he looks for like not like he looks for fouls.
No, he's baiting. He's baiting.
He is baiting a bit for sure, but like. I don't know. It's just not the same too. Like the mental aspect of it, like he had easy layups, at least in the first half.
Yeah, he did,
and he just blew like 3 layups instantly. So like, I applaud him for now attacking the rim. I think last year was way worse when he was off. He would just 100%. Keep shooting, but now he's at least trying to go to the rim when he's off. But even then, it still just throws him off. But he is waiting for sure.
It's crazy because the formula was there. Because like second half of Game 5. That was the JT you wanted to see.
Yeah.
Right when he struggles, and I'm like, bro, you literally just did it. Why aren't you doing it right now?
But to be fair, he was getting a lot of those calls though in Game 5.
He was.
So it is like super wishy-washy. But I'm like, I don't like the foul bait.
I feel like in Game 5 he wasn't baiting as much. He was just fighting through contact, and then the calls just happened naturally.
Yeah, I would say it was like 50-50. Because there were some where he was just like, "Fuck it, I'm putting my head down and I'm throwing my arms up," and they are gonna foul him there. So it looked like he was trying to replicate that a little bit.
Yeah.
In Game 6, but it just wasn't as. It's because he wasn't like getting downhill as much.
Yeah, for sure.
Compared to Game 5.
And to be fair, the refs weren't really calling a lot of those fouls in Game 6.
Yeah, which is what we talked about. Yeah,
for either team, which is
they did a good job on Harden. Because I was gonna touch upon that too, like the whole like flopping stuff, but like defensively they just did a really good job. But there were a lot of times where Harden, obviously being as like offensively like savvy as he is, he obviously can get calls. He wasn't getting a lot of those towards the end, but that was both the refs and like the good defense that the C's were giving because they weren't making it that easy to give that call.
Yeah. So anyway, good transition to Game 7 preview, and we just talked about a lot of the positive things we saw, and I think the one thing I really want, obviously we're sticking with the double big to start. Like I don't think anybody expects it otherwise. But I need Rob to play more.
Yes.
I think he played 28 minutes, which is great. Like, and you just see the difference, man. Like you see I think there was a stat going around where Philly was 9 for 17 in the paint area that was outside of the restricted zone, so not a layup. They were 9 for 17 in Game 5. They were like 3 for 18 in Game 6.
Yeah, it was some shit like that.
That's honestly the Rob Williams effect, bro. Like, and I think we talked about this in the group chat where there were discussions of Rob not looking like himself, and I honestly believe like it's because his minutes have been inconsistent.
For sure.
He's been averaging less than 15 minutes a game up until last game, and then you see the difference in the defense when he plays more. Like. We have great perimeter defenders, and I think JT has kind of taken that next step to becoming like a good, maybe not an anchor, but like a good all-around defender for the team. But
the best wing defender in the league.
But it's not the same as having Rob Williams back there, bro.
No, for sure. I think the main difference though is like the way teams start off, if that makes sense. So like if James Harden or Joel Embiid honestly are like in a flow to start off the game, Rob Williams coming in isn't going to stop them because they're already in a flow. They're fucking superstars for a reason. So for Rob Williams to start in the game and show his presence like off rip, that already makes them uncomfortable, and it's harder for them to get into that flow to start off the game. Obviously, like the minutes that Rob is out is when they were like thriving more so in the paint and going on their runs and stuff like that. But I do think like something as minuscule as that is like so pivotal, I guess, to the flow of players' games. Even like something like if I forget, I think in the Lakers game or like the Lakers Warriors series or whatever, when Vando in game 1 was like hard pressing Steph, like to start off the game all the way from when they threw the ball in. That affected him a lot more compared to game 2, where he was doing the same thing, but he wasn't pressing up on him. He was just covering him from when the ball came in. So I'm like, just small things like that, I feel like mentally get to you, because once they did start pressing up on Steph Curry, he was already in a flow. Like he already was on his shit. So it's hard to stop them when they're on their shit.
Yeah. I kind of build on that too. I mean, I think you got to kind of like counter, because like same way Embiid is to us, like he's kind of like that. Like he protects the paint. He's a rim protector.
Embiid been
he kind of like
in the paint.
Alters JB and JT from attacking the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Rob presents that same effect. Like if he's there, it don't matter. He don't got to guard Embiid, but as long as he's there, I feel like Harden's not gonna attack as much. Embiid's gonna second guess himself if he gets past Al. He's gonna settle for middies, and you don't got Tobias Harris isn't driving to the rim like that. And you got PJ who's just gonna sit in the corner. So I think just throwing that aspect and having Rob out there from the jump, I think it really helps us. And it's just another way of making that adjustment, kind of like counter what Philly's throwing at us. So if they're gonna protect the paint, we'll protect the paint too. Kind of stop what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I think I want to. Excuse me. I think one thing I really wanted, I liked that they did. It felt like in Game 6 that they didn't really do in games 4 and 5. I didn't like that we weren't attacking Embiid often. I know he's blocking shots, but you kind of have to like force him to block those shots.
Yeah.
Because Embiid is truly one of those players, man, where like we talk about NBA players, they're pro athletes and stuff, but Embiid's probably not the greatest conditioned player. And the end of Game 6, where we were relentlessly attacking this dude, offense, making him work on offense and making him work on defense. Like he's getting blocks, he's gonna get blocks. You can't help that. You're not gonna stop a man that's great at blocking shots. You're not gonna stop him from blocking shots. But at the end of the game, when JT was going on his tear, you could see the difference. Like I think there was a play in transition. I believe it was JB. We got a steal. He went up for a layup, and Embiid came back and blocked that shit.
Yeah,
right?
It was Embiid. Oh, I mean, it was JB.
And then coming back away, he saved the ball after blocking it, but he didn't get back up the court. Right? I think that really played a role, man. Because like at that point, the dude was so exhausted. Embiid is the most deadly when he's in the paint. But when he's facing up on Al and taking those fadeaway twos, you kind of live with that, right? So I feel like that should be a focus as well in Game 7. And I think if we could force that, I don't know, man. I don't think they beat us.
Yeah, for sure. I think in the same like regard, Rob helps with that as well.
Yep.
Obviously, like he had like 3 lobs that he got in, and I think that's just something extra that Embiid either has to mentally think about, or like he has to physically like contest. And that's just like getting him up, contesting an alley-oop or something like that, and playing defense on the ball handler and the roller, obviously. So just minor things like that. And honestly, I think the offense was flowing so great with Rob, like completely underrated, bro. Yes. Like I think the offense with Rob or the double bigs is just as good as like a 5-out offense that we run. But yeah, I think especially for the Embiid matchup, having that vertical threat is super important, because he can't just hope for like Al or something to miss a 3. Obviously, Al has been in a shooting slump, so he hasn't been as worried.
Yep.
So this is a good addition, because now he actually has something to worry about inside the paint.
Agreed. Yeah, we've been begging for that for like forever. And I think I did want to highlight one more thing before we move on. Like that vertical threat point. There were like at least 6 or 7 possessions where Marcus just absolutely took advantage of that, right? Because Embiid ignored Rob for like the first 3 possessions, it seemed.
Yep.
And then now that the threat is there, like it's a bait. Like, okay, I'm looking that way. Oh shit, Rob is here. I gotta turn around, and boom, we get a layup. It's just beautiful to watch. And Joe, please, for the love of God, play Rob for like 35 minutes or something.
Yeah, I would say the only thing is I'm hoping, depending on how the game goes, and depending on how Al looks that game, bro, if you are afraid to just take out Al for Rob, I hope that is not an issue.
I hope not either.
If Al is not looking the way that, or if he's still in the slump the way that he has been this series, completely just pull out Al and we need Rob for those last 5-ish minutes, because it gets real scary sometimes.
Because it's at a point where I don't truly trust that he's gonna make that 3 anymore.
Yeah. And that's fine. As long as he makes them for next series.
And next series, you don't need it for this game.
We need it for this game, bro. We need
it for this game too. I agree, but
we need that Grant Williams performance, bro.
Imagine, that'd be insane. I love it.
Oh man. Okay, so moving on. I don't want to make a prediction for that Celtics game, by the way, because I am very superstitious, and we're gonna be at the game, so I'm not saying shit.
That's cool. That's cool.
All right, so we're gonna do recaps. Heat Knicks. Nathan, I'm gonna let you start because you got boys in New York. What's going on with the Knicks?
Bugs, bro. They just got no help, bro. Simple as that, man. I was actually just texting them. I was texting Josh, Cisco, and me, and I was just telling them Jalen Brunson is that guy for them. It's that point guard they need. But I think clearly watching the games, Julius Randle has to be locked into the way he plays. His energy at times is kind of hinders the team, in my opinion. He'll go he'll turn the ball over or not any energy into a play, and then he'll get the ball in the other offensive end and just chuck up a bad shot. He kind of fucks up the whole rhythm and whatever they're doing. Especially in Game 5, I think when they lost in Miami, he literally didn't get back on defense. And right on that next possession, he popped up a 3 and he bricked it. And it's you know what I mean? Everybody's looking dude, what are you doing? But Jalen Brunson is the only steady force, he could get to the rim whenever he wants. Small, finesse guard, and then just don't got don't get me wrong. I mean, you guys know I like RJ. He'll be at best he's the third, scoring option, and I do see the potential, like I was saying, but I think they clearly need more shooters, and they need to kind of just, I don't know if it's what they do with Julius, they keep him or not, but they gotta just Tom Thibodeau gotta do something about that. But
I honestly feel like they need a shot creator outside of Jalen Brunson. That was their main issue. I think shooting, I agree. They do need shooting overall. But they definitely need someone who can create their shot outside of we've seen Randall not collapse during the playoffs, because I wouldn't say this was a collapse, but he definitely didn't perform to the level that he was in the regular season. So I do think that him being that second shot creator, and then RJ I guess being the third one, is very rough, because they're not the greatest shot creators, and if anything they're just more downhill players, and they're not even the greatest downhill players that they can get away with it, like a Jimmy Butler or something like that. I do think Jimmy Butler is a great shot creator as well as being a downhill player. But yeah, just the fact that they don't have another one outside of Brunson, they were leaning on him heavy last game, and in the fourth quarter, from 6 minutes on, bro, that's crazy. Every possession they were trying to get him the ball and just do something for us. And for the most part, he was doing something for them. So a lot of props to him. I was loving his game for both series that he's played. He thoroughly outplayed everyone that he was playing against. Honestly, the guards the guards on the Cavs team, and then he was playing up to par with Jimmy Butler, obviously. And some might even say played a little bit better. But yeah, I think the whole Heat thing was just kind of what I was saying last episode, where they're just really good at being able to finish these ugly games. All the games basically ended up really close, ugly. No one was really making shots and shit like that. And when you get to that mental, I feel like the Heat are very good at still executing the way that they should, all from their stars to their role players. And I think you could see that the Knicks weren't comfortable doing that, and that's why they relied on Jalen Brunson to do it the whole entire time. So to see that's why I just had a lot more faith in the coaching, obviously, and then from the role players down. Obviously, they're not I would say on a talent standpoint, they're not to the role players of the Knicks. But from just understanding how to execute when these games get really ugly, I believed that the Heat were able to do it. And I mean, it looked like they did because all the games were really ugly. And there wasn't any like crazy Jimmy heroics for the last like 2-3 games anyways. It was literally just like, this is just ugly basketball from both sides. And we'll see who can grind it out better. Yeah.
And to build on the Brunson thing, I agree. I think they need another shot creator as well. There was a stretch in the second quarter. So Brunson only sat for 3 minutes in that game. He played 45 minutes. There was a stretch in Q2, I believe, where it was like literally right when I tuned in. Knicks were up like 10. Brunson gets a breather because the dude played every single minute last game, right?
Actually.
And then the Heat take the lead. Like that can't happen, bro. Like he's the only offense, quite literally. Like there's just no other way to put it, and that's a problem. I know Randall was injured in that stretch as well, but I don't know how I feel about Randall as a secondary shot creator because it's not really shot creating if you're just chucking it. Because there's no flow to that, right? Like I feel like the definition of shot creating is it's not necessarily you shooting, it's you creating an opportunity for the team. If you get doubled, you're creating a shot for your teammate. Randall doesn't do that. But no, like I mean that's a discussion for like the off season, obviously. But I think I always want to give props to Jalen Brunson because I thought that man was overpaid. I was wrong. That man.
Hey, I didn't think he'd play this good. That man. I thought he was the contract was good. But shit, he's playing amazing.
That's what I'm saying. This man is a $40 million player right now. Like, so. But no, like props to him for kind of just leaving it all out there on the floor. And then to touch on the Miami thing, man, it's scary to say, but they fucking figured it out. Like the team we saw play against the Hawks in the play-in, this is not the team we're seeing. So I think just to add on,
they are really built for playoff basketball, though.
They truly are, and I think the personnel defensively has always been there. Like Jimmy, they have a lot of solid wing defenders, and then an elite one in Jimmy, and then they have an elite anchor in Bam. I think I don't think the Heat's defense has ever been an issue, but I think offensively they finally figured it out, and I think Bam is actually locked in to the point where he's not like sulking and not being a quote unquote number 2 option, and they're playing more of an actual rhythmic offense. I like to call it the Spurs offense, where you're passing the ball, they're getting open shots, and their players are hitting it. Yo, Duncan Robinson looks like an NBA player again. So it's just them figuring it out with a combination of the Knicks literally relying on one dude. Like that was just the writing on the wall, just from the jump. I mean, kudos to Brunson for stealing 2 games. I say steal because honestly, I don't think they had any business winning any of these games.
But they were looking bad from game 1.
They were looking really bad, crazy. Bro. But like they won game 1, and we didn't feel like they should have won game 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I think that's just kudos to Spo. Like he made the correct adjustments. They always say game 1's a feeler game, right? You feel out how your opponent's gonna play.
Actually, no, they won game 1. They won game 1.
The Knicks won game 1.
No, he did.
No, Miami.
Did Miami win game
1? Knicks lost, or Knicks won game 2 because Jimmy was sitting out.
Yeah.
Oh,
but they almost lost it.
Gotcha.
And they won. Miami
I might be thinking of the Cavs series then. All right, my bad.
They did. I think they did. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. But yeah, either way, like I feel like regardless of who wins, game 1's a feeler game. I think Spo is the one that said that, and he made all the correct adjustments. And that zone, the Knicks cannot figure out the zone.
Man.
That comes down to being able to create your own shots. And
Miami zone is like annoying as fuck, though. Obviously, we've dealt with it plenty of times, but their zone it can be different.
It's because their players are elite at rotating off of zones.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They're just super. They know how to execute.
They do
on both ends when it really matters.
But yeah, props to both teams. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean it was great for the Knicks, man. This is like their best run in like 10 years.
Yeah.
So they have a lot to build off. Yeah, like I don't know why like there's a crowd of Knicks that are like going insane and like I mean I guess you can be mad at Randall and shit, but I feel like this was a good season for them. I don't think anyone expected them, or I guess
make the playoffs at least.
Yeah, making the second round was probably their best case scenario. So like for them to just lose in the second round is nothing crazy. Out of expectations.
Agreed.
Up from here for them.
Yeah, for sure.
But
But yeah, man, like, come on, bro. None of y'all weren't winning the championship.
Yeah, dude. Oh my, bro, the Knicks propaganda that I was seeing that they could make the finals, I was like, yo.
I don't know about that, bro.
They were like, yo, we beat the Heat. The Celtics and the Sixers are beatable as well. Like, yo, y'all ain't even beat the Heat.
Yo, that ass. Alright, but yeah, props to those guys. Nuggets Suns. Okay.
Nuggets Suns.
Here's the thing.
This is what I was saying, man. This is what I was saying.
I think we prefaced this when we did this was like 2 episodes ago, I believe, before the second round started. The concerns about the Suns were valid, obviously. I think just that straight up Devin Booker, Kevin Durant taking turns, that can only last so long. Like, you can get away with that with a Kawhi and Paul George-less Clippers team. You can't get away with that with a top to bottom team like the Nuggets with their obviously superstar in Jokic. But yeah, man, I felt like they went God mode in games 3 and 4. Stole those games. And then you could just tell, man, Book and KD were gassed.
Bro. Yep.
They were fucking gassed. And DeAndre Ayton has been checked out since who knows when. But like a combination of that, and I think we discussed it, right? Like the depth was an issue, and then the way they ran their offense was an issue. And there was a reason the Clippers were competitive in every single game, with or without Kawhi. And that translated here, and obviously props to the Nuggets for handling their business and continuing to play with intensity, even though they were up 20, 30 points, or however much they ended up going up by. But yeah, I just think that the Suns' offense was just unsustainable. They have the talent. I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason. They're pretty limited in what they can do, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way they don't try to just get rid of Ayton in some possible way.
Maybe
I don't know who the fuck is going to want him.
Yeah.
But he is checked out, man. And it's like that money being on the team still is crazy. Like, there's just so much stuff that they could do with that money. Because obviously I do think CP will stay and hold that like really old point guard role. Game manager, that's a word I'm looking for. Game manager, point guard role for sure. But yeah, outside of Ayton, they got to figure out what the hell they're going to do with Ayton's money, to be honest. Whether that's like getting one piece, a piece, few pieces, or just completely unloading a contract off, which I don't think will happen. But
you never know. Maybe they pull off a Lakers trade. You never know. But I think, he signed that deal with the Pacers, bro. Maybe the Pacers go back and try to get him. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
And give Miles Turner Phoenix, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
something to talk about later.
At least for the series recap, basically what I was thinking, at least on the Suns end, for the Nuggets, I guess, Jokic has been amazing, dude.
Yes.
Like, got to give him a lot of props.
Yes.
I don't know, like, it's dude, the narratives that like, Jokic is a superstar now. Like, okay,
the Jalen Rose shit, yeah.
I'm like, this man has won 2 MVPs and now he's a fucking superstar. And the fact that people are finally like giving him credit, for just being like a good player or like a great player, because his last 2 playoff runs were with his best players injured and not even close to the personnel that he was fucking running like with Campazzo or in some shit. This is insanity. The fact that people were knocking down the Nuggets this low, like to think that they weren't playoff performers, or Jokic, Murray, and all them weren't playoff performers. But obviously they've been showing up when they need to. And Jokic has honestly been playing even better than we've seen him in playoffs past. Like his efficiency, his output, all that has just been insane. He dropped like a 50 piece. I don't know when the hell last time like he randomly dropped a 50 piece like that. That was crazy. But yeah, a lot of props to them. And then obviously the role players have stepped up when they needed to. I think Jamal Murray is also a playoff riser. There is no bubble fluke. he goes crazy when the playoffs come, so that's dope to see. But yeah, they're scary, man. They're looking dangerous. I think their main test will genuinely be against the Lakers because of AD. Agreed. This AD Jokic matchup will be super important because last time AD did a number on Jokic. Obviously Jokic still did his thing, but AD neutralized a lot of what his effectiveness essentially. So AD looking like the fucking best defensive player in the league, and Jokic looking like the best offensive player in the league, is going to be very, very interesting because they'll be matching up a lot.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I don't got much to say about that series. That's what it is. But I mean, look, I'm gonna give props to the Nuggets, like you guys. I think they kind of like it was like, all right, it's the time to like compete now. They kind of made small changes, getting rid of Bones Highland to get more minutes up to Christian Brown. So I think that was a good move. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Kind of like focusing more on the defensive side of the ball, and then but yeah, I think they're really well equipped, and I think it was just clear from like the first two games that the Suns weren't going to be able to hang with them, and they easily were just going to not easily run away because they did steal 2 games, but were just head and shoulders above the Suns, and the Suns had no sort of like anything offensively, defensively to stop what they were going to do. And then the Suns on the other hand is just like Booker's going to be Booker. Like I feel like he's going to score 30 a game, but whether or not he could win the game for them is
Booker hater. I like it.
I'm not a hater, bro. I'm not a hater. All I gotta say is JB is better than Devin Booker. All right, that's all I gotta say.
That's crazy, bro. Hey, outside of last game, Booker was having the best playoffs outside of Jimmy Butler.
Oh, he was.
That's kind of crazy to say. But hey, you can ride with JB. I mess with that.
I'm fucking with JB, bro. That's my dog. But KD, I don't know, man. You just gotta find different teams to go to, bro. Like just because you want to go to the Suns, don't mean you're just gonna easily win, bro. And then CP3, bro. I think
KD's a fraud, man. I'm gonna just say this. That was like kind of. It's not a hot take, but I mean,
there's a conversation there.
Oh, for sure. Like I think, especially in the playoffs, you can tell how much more limited he is now. And I mean, I attribute that to his injuries. Like this man has come back from like an Achilles tear and shit like that. So to see that he lacks any explosiveness and like handle and all that kind of shit is not surprising. But people regarding him as like the best player in the league, it's clearly not watching. Because he is a great player for sure. And like probably top 5 or some shit. But shit, it gets real rough for him in the playoffs, especially with all the injuries that he's gotten. His lack of athleticism at this point now, at least like compared to what he was prior to those injuries, is definitely noticeable in the playoffs. Outside of that, when he is hitting these crazy contested middies in the regular season, it's great and all, but that defense obviously gets a little bit tighter in the playoffs, so it becomes harder. And that's not saying that obviously he wasn't lighting it up in the playoffs, but it's clearly just not enough to just do that. Curry, man, he carried him.
I won't go that far, but yeah, that's definitely a conversation to be had in the offseason as well. But like, hey, everybody, Father Time's undefeated, baby. Like it's just natural, of course. But yeah, props to the Nuggets, and to just add on a little bit, like, yeah, dude, if anybody's slandering Joker for his recent playoff performances in previous years, like, dude, Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray did not play in either of those series, so it kind of tells you everything about the depth.
And they didn't even have like the next 3 best players: KCP, Bruce Brown, Christian Brown. Like none of those guys were even there.
Yep, all he had was I think an Aaron Gordon post trade deadline.
Yeah, playing as the number 2 option when clearly he's not that.
Exactly,
he's a great like 3rd, 4th.
But yeah, I'm happy Joker's finally getting some praise, even though he should have been getting it the whole time. But yeah, moving on. Lakers Warriors.
Oh yeah, baby.
So Lakers Warriors.
I fucking called this. So
you can go. You can go if you want.
I mean, nothing crazy that I haven't said, but the Lakers just always had that front court size, in my opinion, and that dominates a lot of the playoffs overall because it just goes back to the physicality and I think AD going on his fucking rebound tears is huge, obviously. Honestly, Golden State had a lot of offensive rebounds last game as well, but AD just controlling the paint, being the best defensive player in the league alongside maybe 3J, but I mean he thoroughly outplayed 3J on the defensive end when they first. So I would give it to him. Obviously, Joel Embiid is up there as well. Yeah, him playing that defensive masterclass and just the role players overall are just it kind of reminds me of the Heat in terms of like the role players being able to execute. Austin Reeves is super great at just like plug and play. Like he knows how to operate the whole like team, and overall, like I feel like he's taken a step up even above that. Before it was kind of like a good in between guy, as in like he'll make shots if you give him the ball, he'll make something out of it. As like he's not going to turn the ball over, not do dumb plays or something like that. But he has honestly been like relied upon at points from LeBron, and it's actually been like very efficient. Like it's been good. He's been stepping up. And yeah, D'Lo obviously doing his thing, and just LeBron. Like, bro, people who thinking LeBron was gonna throw a 3-1 is insanity. Like, it's motherfucking LeBron. He's gonna show up for a game, and clearly he did, in a really good way. And anyone who was listening to that dog, bro, that dog don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
The corgi TikTok.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, on the Warriors end, they went 7 with the Kings, who I feel like were good. But I think the Lakers were clearly better than them, even on a talent standpoint. And Sabonis is not 80, so his effectiveness is going to be extremely different. And the Warriors were just extremely reliant on Curry. He was carrying the fuck out of them, and they even started switching to just from their free flowing offense, where Curry is super off ball, to Curry is holding the ball all the time, pick and rolls all the time. Yep. And we're going to ride or die with his shot making, and then, him kicking it out, and potentially Clay or Jordan Poole or someone else just hitting a three.
Game 6 of Clay.
Yeah, and there's and clearly like it worked for the games that it did, and that was their best option, to be honest, because that free flowing offense was not going to work with the way that everyone else was playing outside of Curry. So I don't knock the Warriors for doing that, but Curry could only take you so far, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, he is the best player in the world, though. I'm saying that shit. That is solidified. Yeah. That dude is crazy, bro.
I agree.
But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. Same thing. I don't know. I have the same kind of feelings about this series as the Nuggets series. I can really give a fuck, bro. I don't give a shit. But I mean, when I did watch, like, of course, I mean, I'm just a certified LeBron hater, bro. So, like, I did not want to see the Lakers win, and I just wanted, like, as much as I hate the Warriors too, like, I didn't want to see them win either. So, I guess you could say it's a win-win situation here, but
yeah, I honestly don't care about either of them.
Yeah, but like, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Warriors could clearly see that they were at a disadvantage, solely because of the front court size of the Lakers. Like, ain't nobody was gonna fucking stop AD, bro. Like, this dude was a top 5 player in the NBA, like, and arguably probably still a top 10 player in the league right now.
Easily.
So like, have 2 like great players like that on their team, and only have really one in Steph. I mean, it's clearly outweighed like what so much Steph could do. And so, I mean, like, Steph is gonna be great. He's always will be. But I think it's clearly like it could have been a different series, in my opinion, if Jordan Poole actually showed up. This dude was non-existent.
For sure.
I'm not gonna say they would have won. I think they could have pushed it to 7, or they could have stole, like, not a game prior game. But dude, this dude was not playing like he was. Like, he's the opposite of what we thought Jalen Brunson was. Like, that bag, and he played like shit this playoffs. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, all year he's been playing like shit, to be honest. Not even just the playoffs.
So that, and then Wiggins kind of being mediocre, and like after coming back, obviously going through a situation. But I think if he had some sort of like rhythm, more of a rhythm going into the playoffs, maybe they would have had a chance. But fuck it, it's over for them. They're going to Cancun. But on the Lakers end, I mean, it is what it is, bro. Like, hype is there. Everybody's rooting for them again. Like AD said, starting season 2 for 10, and then make it to the Western Conference Finals. Like, yeah,
that is a crazy story.
It is, but like, I mean, like, Lakers did what they had to do, I guess. But I don't care, bro. Fuck.
Oh, that's too funny, man.
But but yeah, as far as this series is concerned, I think the Warriors were just honestly overmatched, and even on paper, like talent-wise, top to bottom, Lakers just had a better team. Like, I know the Warriors, they're our boogeyman, and it's they have that what do they call them now, aura, like they won the championship and all that shit, whatever. But no, the Lakers, like, just watching that series, the Lakers were the more aggressive team. I know Warriors fans were crying about the free throw disparity, and it is annoying to see a team shoot 40 free throws or have like a plus 120 in the series.
But then you just look at the shots that they take.
You look at, if you watch the games, they were actually the more aggressive team. They were living.
Yeah, I mean, they were the number one paint team, anyways.
They were living in the paint. Like, I know there was this stat going around about what team has more drives. I don't know if you guys know this, but post ups aren't drives. So you have that monster in AD. AD's been healthy relatively for the first time in like 3 years since the bubble, really.
Basically, yeah.
And you're seeing a byproduct of that. And I think I remember prior to the end of the season, we had an episode where we were talking about contenders when we updated our contenders list, and we talked about like actual contenders and dark horses. And I think we predicated the Lakers as having a condition of, if they're healthy, they're actually contenders. I think all three of us said that, and we're kind of seeing that. And it was predicated on AD being healthy and AD being the best player, and that's happened. And look at where they are now. They're in the Western Conference Finals, and playoff seeding. It's a cool story because 2 play-in teams making the conference finals, a 7 and an 8 seed in the conference finals in each of their respective conferences. But at the end of the day, you got to play the games, right? So and this is what we're witnessing. And I think props to the Lakers. Fuck them. I wish they both lost somehow, but
True.
It doesn't work that way.
Honestly, I just want good basketball. So
exactly.
Either the Nuggets or the Lakers. Obviously, I'm still rooting for the Celtics to make the finals. Right. But either the Nuggets or the Lakers, I would have liked more overall. I just think it's going to be extremely fun to watch those guys play. Yeah.
So but yeah, you know what? I'm not even giving them props. Fuck them. So moving on.
That's fair.
Moving on to the preview of the Western Conference Finals, Nuggets Lakers. I think this one. Actually,
this is an extreme toss-up for me, bro.
This is a huge toss-up because I think each team has their advantages, right?
Yes.
Because I feel like, I don't care. You can bring up advanced statistics all you want. I don't pay attention to that shit. But I think the Lakers just have that advantage inside. The Nuggets don't really have that interior presence to kind of kind of sway people away from driving into the paint. And AD obviously is just, you're not going to stop AD down low. And if the Lakers are dominating the paint and getting free throws like they were against the Warriors, I could see them winning. However, the Lakers are fucking bipolar. The Lakers love blowing leads. And the Nuggets, on the other hand, are a steady, stick-to-your-fucking game plan team, right? And that's their main advantage, where I think when the Lakers falter, the Nuggets can absolutely capitalize on that. And they have been all playoffs, and you have a steady force in Jokic. I know, Murray's been up and down this playoffs. MPJ has been up and down, but Jokic has been steady all year. And it's honestly a toss-up. I'll wait to give my prediction until you guys kind of get your input, but, this is truly a toss-up.
I'm at a toss-up too, but I think it is basically what you're saying. The execution from the Nuggets, I probably trust more. Because the way the Lakers have been playing, I think the reason why they blow leads so much is because LeBron can be extremely passive nowadays, and same with AD, honestly too. Because AD is doing so much on the defensive end, and LeBron is just aging, so he is okay with giving the reins to these role players. But they're role players for a reason, and they're not going to consistently go crazy. So that is why, in my opinion, they continue to drop these big leads. Because it's not LeBron holding and creating every single offensive sequence. But the Nuggets can do that if they want to, because Jokic can manipulate the offense every single possession that he's in there. So I do think that their offensive execution will be better. But it honestly is so much predicated on the Jokic AD matchup.
It is.
If AD can outplay Jokic, both on the offense, well, not on the offensive end, but his defensive impact on Jokic neutralizes him, and he is aggressive on the offensive end, getting boards and scoring that 20 to maybe even 30 that we've seen from him.
Yep.
That will clearly sway the game into the Lakers' favor. But if Jokic is still playing his game and AD isn't aggressive because they're not taking advantage of him not being the greatest defender, then I could see them obviously not being the greatest or not winning the series compared to the Nuggets.
Yep.
So it is a toss-up because AD is so he clearly is locked in enough to win the 4 games of a series, but I don't know if he can afford to take games off the way that he has against the Warriors and against the Grizzlies that he like even those 1 or 2 slip ups because that might not be enough against a team as good as the Nuggets.
I'm with y'all. I think I don't know. Right now, I just know it's gonna go at least 6 or 7 games.
100%. I'm going 7, no matter who I choose.
But like I don't know. I think the Lakers is gonna be. I know we're gonna say it's a challenge, like for who they played so far. Oh, the Grizzlies, I ain't even gonna count. The Warriors or Kings, yeah, it was gonna be a challenge, but I think this is the real challenge for them. Yeah, the Nuggets, because like you guys said, the Nuggets are just a steady force, but I feel like they're so balanced. Like they could play anyway, in my opinion. Like play through the post, they play through Jokic, or they'll play. They could shoot the lights out when they're actually like on fire. Yeah, and they got people who could attack. You got Jamal Murray, you got Porter's starting to pick it up. You got Bruce Brown, who's just relentless. You know what I mean? They have all these players that are like kind of like bring a different personnel and like identity to the team. So the fact that like they have that, and I think the Lakers are kind of similar in a way, but there's kind of like areas where you could kind of say like they lack a little bit. Like I would take some of the wings on Denver over the Lakers. Like I think it's easily like for the AD, like it is predicated on that matchup. Like if he shows up to be that like like a 30-20 or like 25-15 type of guy, like every consistently, like it's gonna be a problem for Jokic. But I don't think Jokic would lose in that battle, but because he's gonna do what he's gonna do. Like you know what I mean. But it all is gonna fall on whether or not Jokic's teammates is gonna step up and like rise to the occasion. Whereas I think you kind of expect like LeBron is. And then everybody else is just gonna follow lead. So either way, like the series it might just keep going back and forth for each game because it's gonna be tough for like one team to win 2 in a row, and then like
I agree.
I see like Denver's gonna win 1, Lakers win 1, and then Lakers, you know what I mean? Go back and forth. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting because I feel like the role players are kind of the opposite, kind of like what you're saying. Lakers role players, they have so much more like pop off potential, but like the Nuggets are just extremely like you know what they'll get, and there's just a larger collection of them, if that makes sense. Like D'Lo, in terms of like his ceiling, of popping off, like I would take over, probably everyone except MPJ and Jamal Murray, but outside of that, like I would take all those other guys for consistent like defensive output and potentially like hitting a shot or 2 from 3, which is sometimes all you need as long as your superstars are playing the way that they should.
Exactly.
Shit, D'Lo's the new J.R. Smith for LeBron.
Actually,
but yeah, man. I mean, I guess based on predictions, like I think I'm also taking into account. This is the first time I know AD's been elite defensively all playoffs and all year really. But this is the first series where he has to actually one-on-one guard somebody and actually have to guard him. Because, you're not doing that to JJJ. He's not really that kind of player. And Draymond, come on, really. So, man, I might have the Nuggets in 7.
I have Nuggets in 7 too now. I just think that
Lakers. Yeah, it's a mix of both for me, dude. I'm fuck the Lakers, give me the Nuggets. But I also believe it. But I also believe it in just in objective terms, where the Nuggets are just more steady, bro. Like
I think Jokic is gonna be going to be different compared to what he was in the bubble, or like or when last time he matched up against AD. Yep. I think he'll be able to figure it out, and he's unrelenting. Like he's not gonna take games off. Like he's gonna play every single game to his fullest.
Yep.
And I think that is just enough because both LeBron and AD have not shown that they will do it every single game.
Yep.
And I just think that Jokic will bring it every single game, and his role players will probably win him a game, and like that's probably enough. Like he doesn't need the role players to win 2 to potentially like 3. Yep. The way that I feel like the Lakers have been able. Which is fine. Like the role players are good, but they have had their role players win them like 2 games potentially in both series. So yeah, I got the Nuggets in 7.
Yeah, I'll take Nuggets in 7 too. But I think we all know like, the script might be true, bro.
The script might be crazy. I'm down for that script though.
Listen, I don't give a fuck what the script is as long as we're a part of it.
Yeah, and I honestly think that not that I want injuries or anything like that, but if anything were to pop up, it would be now because this is probably going to be the toughest series for both sides.
100%.
And the Nuggets seem to me more like a healthier team. They don't have as many injury-prone players. So LeBron is on 1 foot, and AD is just AD. So it's tough to think that they can last another long playoff series.
AD could break it any time, bro.
But they could make it and make it to the finals. If they do, then that's dope for them.
Listen. I read the script, and the Celtics are winning Banner 18 to honor Bill Russell and surpass the Lakers and keep the tie out. The tie, by the way. Minneapolis, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're all in agreement, right? Nuggets in 7. Yeah, that's all we got for today.
The tone of this podcast will be very dependent on tomorrow.
Listen. There's a very real possibility there's no episode next week.
You guys will see.
Yo, listen, man. I ain't trying to go heavy in my pockets and then just be depressed.
Yeah, like I'm happy right now, but man, I'm still like I can't wait for tomorrow to come, bro.
Tomorrow needs to come.
Game to happen already.
Tomorrow needs to happen. We will be there. I'm trying to reactivate the curse. Because the curse broke game 1. I'm gonna need a blowout. Boston, do your thing.
Yes, sir.
All right, until next time, signing off.
Hey, peace.